A woman murdered, police say, by her boyfriend who was out on bond. Now a panel of Nashville judges wants to know how the system failed this 22-year-old.
Paying workers for the hours they put in, the push to expand overtime, and why some say it's a bad idea.
Billions impacted.
This is a big breach, and we shouldn't take it lightly.
Your Social Security number could be in the hands of crooks. The action you need to take immediately. Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News, we start tonight in a code red weather alert for a threat of storms in our area.
Now, the threat will actually start overnight and run all the way through Saturday morning. Fox 17 code red chief meteorologist Katie Morgan joins us now with the biggest threats and, of course, specific timing.
Yeah, timing specifically is going to be hard to come by for tomorrow. It's going to be kind of scattered. We may get a break in the afternoon, but what we were just saying here, we've got a chance tonight. We've got a chance maybe tomorrow morning, again tomorrow night, and then into Saturday. It looks like we're going to extend it now to Saturday night.
Really, 3 bites.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit going on here. And I will say this isn't going to be a widespread severe weather outbreak or of any sorts. This is more a very low end, but can't ignore type of threat. Now, the threats that we're looking at, wind and hail, this does not look to be a tornado setup for us. Wind would be the primary concern. In fact, we have a severe thunderstorm watch that's just been extended into Trigg County, the one county in our viewing area, and that is until midnight tonight. At this point, I do not expect this watch to expand further into Middle Tennessee, as we expect more of these showers and storms for tonight to weaken as they move in. Nonetheless, the possibility of a stray strong thunderstorm around the Trigg County and maybe just outside of that area, Stewart County, Montgomery County, Christian County, we'll need to keep an eye out for another few hours at least. So that watch goes until midnight. And again, we're right on the edge of it. But as I mentioned, at this point, I don't see it expanding more into Middle Tennessee for tonight. Here's why. We take you through future track, and you can see as we go through midnight and into the overnight hours, that cluster of thunderstorms just kind of weakens considerably. So I think overnight we should be relatively quiet, not 100%. So I would make sure that you have those ways to stay alert just in case. But as we get into the morning hours here, here's a batch that is possible to bring us a couple stray strong thunderstorms for the morning hours. Now, I will say the models have been tricky and troublesome trying to get these timings down. So for now, I think we are looking at least the potential for showers and storms in the morning. We're going to see the atmosphere reload for the afternoon with another chance for showers and storms coming in as we head into the afternoon hours. Things are fairly quiet downtown on Broadway right now. We're sitting at about 86, a very warm night. We drop down to the mid to lower 70s, right around 76 here in town. We'll walk you through the timing for Friday and going into Saturday. More on some weekend events that are happening as well. That's all coming up.
But we're just trying to get answers today, I think.
Tonight in Operation Crime and Justice, what went wrong? That's what a panel of Nashville judges is trying to figure out. Police say a man out on bond in Nashville traveled to Mississippi and killed his on-again, off-again girlfriend, all while wearing a GPS monitor. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar broke the story. She joins us here in studio with more on that hearing.
The panel of judges did not make a decision today. The father of Lauren Johansson sat in court during the hearing. He tells me he got some answers, but now his daughter is dead because of a series of mistakes.
Lance Johansson is nearly in tears. During this hearing, a panel of judges want to know what went wrong leading up to his daughter Lauren's murder. Police say Bryson Rivers beat her bloody in December. He made bond before later killing her in Mississippi.
I'm really angry. I'm very upset about what's happened.
Bryson Rivers' bond required him to stay in Davidson County and wear a GPS monitor. 2 bonding companies were supposed to make that happen, Brooks Bail Bonding and On Time Bail Bonds, with Brooks Bail Bonding leading it. Freedom Monitoring, who works in conjunction with Brooks Bail Bonding, was in charge of tracking Rivers. All say they never got a copy of those bond conditions.
You just sign a blank order and put up blinders, and whatever happens, Brooke makes the bond.
Because I asked for a copy, it was not given it.
Another issue for the judges, no one ever reported Rivers left Davidson County.
You said you relied on him for the zone exclusion.
And there was also a court date that was supposed to be held on 6/27.
An attorney for Brooks bail bonding said there was no basis to surrender him.
Regarding as to why the bond conditions weren't.
My questions were not answered.
I think that if it keeps working the way it is now, there's going to be a lot of women in body bags.
A possible outcome is the bonding companies can get shut down or even suspended. A judge also asked if the representative from Freedom Monitoring would be fired, and the answer was no until further notice. Reporting live in the studio, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
An update tonight on a Rutherford County stable owner accused of sexually assaulting teenage girls. Today, a judge in Murfreesboro refused to lower Jason Lancaster's bond from $1 million to $500,000. If it happened, it would have allowed Lancaster to come up with $50,000 to a bail company and be free until his trial. Lancaster also is facing animal cruelty charges.
Continuing coverage now on the deaths of two former Fisk University students in what Metro Police say is a DUI crash in Madison. Giovanni Bolstad, who has a previous DUI conviction, is charged with vehicular homicide. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chin spoke with one of the victims' sisters and mother.
Holly Wagner was just 25 years old, who had dreams of becoming a dentist and attending Meharry. Holly's sister, Leah Wagner, says she was the light of her family.
If you met her, she would make you smile, she would make you laugh. And I just really miss her company. I miss her just being there because she was always there for me. And it's just like without her being here, I feel like a piece of me is gone.
Holly's life and her friend Natalie White's life cut short by a suspected drunk driver. Cynthia Wagner is Holly's mother.
As a mother, you know, there's something wrong with your child. It's better that she was gone. I just needed to be by my baby. I needed to touch her. And I needed to see that it was real.
The family hopes justice can be served and those at fault can be held accountable for their actions. But the Wagner family also wants to help others.
I just want to spread the word. I want the world to know about this because her death could have been prevented. And so, yes, we want to get involved in making sure this never happens again.
Now, the suspect's court appearance has been delayed. The district attorney's office tells me he is still being mentally evaluated. Reporting at Fisk University, I'm Amanda Chin, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
What about employers who want to abuse the system and overwork their salary employees?
In the economy tonight, the nonprofit Beacon Center of Tennessee is suing the U.S. Department of Labor over a plan to expand overtime pay for salaried workers. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker takes a closer look at why this government watchdog group says it will cost workers in the long run.
The Fair Labor Standards Act, created in 1938, states that workers must be paid overtime if they work more than 40 hours a week. However, many salaried positions are exempt from this.
The Biden administration wants to give more salary workers the chance to make overtime, increasing the cap to a little more than $58,000 a year. But that move is not sitting well with the Beacon Center.
And, we believe that people should be free to make their own business arrangements from unfair government interference, and that, if we are going to have laws, they should at least be passed by Congress and not by unelected bureaucrats.
The Beacon Center is teaming up with the Association of Christian Schools on this lawsuit.
What about those employees who make under $58,000 and work overtime? Should they not get paid?
The long-term and wide-ranging effect will actually damage workers.
Beacon Center attorney Ben Storm says this is a clear example of federal overreach. He also says if 4 million new workers are reclassified, we'll see businesses react.
Employers are going to have to cut their hours or, rather than increase their labor costs most likely. And so the workers now, I think, are going to lose opportunities for promotion. They're going to lose opportunities to work more hours.
Something that could also impact school districts, which already set their budget for the year.
If you make a modification in a small organization's budget like that in mid-year, there are going to be some schools that end up having to get closed.
The Biden administration says the move's necessary and workers shouldn't give up their time for free.
The complaint was filed on Monday, so the government will soon be served. Of course, we will keep an eye on this entire process. For now, reporting in Nashville, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
And we want to know what you think. Do you agree with the Biden administration's effort to allow salaried employees earning less than $58,000 a year overtime pay? The poll live right now, over 500 people weighing in tonight. 59.3% say no. 40.7% say yes. Still time to weigh in. This poll is live right now. You can cast your vote by scanning the QR code there on your screen. It will take you over to our X page, and we'll show you updated poll results here a little later in the newscast.
You know how every once in a while you hear about a family pet that disappears for years and then, miracle of miracles, it's found? It happened in Franklin, and
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
Every once in a while you hear an incredible story where a family dog gets lost but is somehow reunited with the owner years later. Well, a story just like that happened in Franklin, and as you can imagine, it is quite a tale. Fox 17 News' Dennis Farrier has the rest of the story in tonight's Farrier Files.
You're such a good boy. Winston, the King Charles Cavalier, gets lots of attention from the Birchfields when he goes outside to potty at his Franklin home. He's watched like a hawk, all because of what happened 3 years ago.
I was just sitting out here on our back porch doing a Zoom ladies Bible study, and I saw Winston at the door looking like he wanted to come outside, but we were almost done, so I was just like, just hang on, Winston, just wait a little bit. And it wasn't long till we were done, and I came in, and I didn't immediately take him out, but it wasn't but like 5 minutes. I was like, oh, Winston, where's Winston?
Winston got out and started running and running and running.
A few days after he had disappeared, there started to be sightings over in Nippers Corner, Brentwood area, and we were like, how in the world did he get all the way from here to there? But people that had the sightings were just so sure it was Winston.
Yeah. The Birchfields jumped into action. They put out flyers, joined Facebook lost dog groups. They got a drone operator to search the neighborhood. They even hired an Alabama bloodhound to track Winston. But none of that worked. And then even the sighting stalled.
And after that, stopped, like silence. And I think after like a few weeks of silence, I was like, dang, that really sucks, because we definitely had momentum for a second, and it just sort of felt like it fizzled completely.
Summer turned to fall, fall turned to winter, and then the months turned to 3 years.
At one point, I was just like, I just pray that he's safe, you know, that he's okay, that he's not out there as a stray now, or that he hasn't got killed. I just pray that he's safe and okay, because he's the sweetest baby in the world, you know, and you love him.
With little hope left, a phone call out of the blue. A King Cavalier rescue was fostering a dog in East Nashville that had ran away 8 times from someone who had taken Winston in.
This is Winston. It's actually him. And he came up kind of wagging his tail, you know, real slow and looking at us like, hey guys, where you been?
Where have you been, Winston? Lots of holes in those 3 years missing. But who cares? Such gratitude for this unexpected reunion.
It is true when they say, like, a dog is a man's best friend. Always find his way back home. That's exactly what he did.
The Birchfields immediately got Winston microchipped. They're pretty sure someone borrowed Winston for a couple years. That explains the 8 runaways before he was surrendered to Cavalier Rescue USA, who reached out to the Birchfields and saved the day. But their message is tonight, microchip your pet. I'm Dennis Farrier, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Fox 17 News Farrier Files is sponsored by Bart Durham Injury Law.
In your community, the Wilson County Tennessee State Fair underway, and plenty of action on and off the Midway.
Come on, Reba.
That is Fox 17 morning anchor Erica Glover in the cow milking competition. She quickly bonded with Reba, the cow, and she beat out several other TV personalities to take home first place.
Best creativity goes to Fox 17.
All right, Fox 17 News morning reporters Madeline Nolan and Johnny Maffey also taking part in the fair festivities. They won most creative in burger competition using donuts to set themselves apart. I bet it was great. It's a way to do it. Fox 17 Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan also spent a little time out there today talking with folks at the fair explaining weather in Tennessee.
I just got back about an hour ago.
You know, we should remind people how hot it was out there today. You had on, you know, shorts and stuff, and the Fox 17, you know, golf shirt, and a lot of folks look like they were having fun, though.
Yeah, and you know, folks are in for a treat when they get out there. I will mention real briefly, if you plan on going to the fair, bring a clear bag, because they do have a clear bag policy and they won't let you in. But they do have bags if you don't have it. At least they did tonight.
Save you some trouble.
Yeah.
You don't want to trek back to the car.
Don't want to have to trek back in the car in this heat. And you know, speaking of the heat, we do have the code red alert in effect for the severe storm chances over the next few days. But the heat tomorrow is definitely going to be an issue for us as well. This is the latest on radar here, a cluster of thunderstorms. We've got the watch that's in effect, and it is just to our north and west. It does include Trigg County. Here's the outlook for tonight. I'm going to go through the next couple of days with these outlooks, but I want to note with this evening's threat, I'm not expecting an overnight big threat for us for severe weather, maybe a stray thunderstorm or two to the north and west. But as this cluster of thunderstorms moves into Middle Tennessee, it looks like it's going to weaken and not be an issue for us overnight. Now we get into tomorrow morning, there will be the potential for some showers and thunderstorms. Couple could be on the strong side. This is our outlook for tomorrow. Again, it's a level 1 risk. If you're new to the area, we have a risk level from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest risk and 5 being the highest risk. And very rarely we see those high 5 end risks for us here. But the level 1 risk is something we need to keep our eye on. This is for Saturday. Again, damaging wind and hail will be the primary threats with anything that does fall. So we go through Friday. Chance thunderstorms off and on all day. Not going to be raining all day, but as you know, we'll find these pop-up showers and storms in the morning, and then again in the afternoon. We'll likely see a break in between those 2 rounds, and that could help keep showers and storms strong going into the evening hours if the atmosphere is able to reload. So we take you through the overnight and into tomorrow afternoon. This is through 3 p.m. You can see clusters starting to pop up, possibly a few thunderstorms even over the fair. It opens up at 5. As we get into the evening hours, still 6, 7 o'clock, the potential for some thunderstorms around. And then as we head through the overnight, we'll have a stray thunderstorm chance through Saturday morning. Then we get into Saturday afternoon. We're going to do it all over again, what we see for Friday. So maybe a few thunderstorms in the morning. I think there's a slightly bigger risk for severe weather as we get into Saturday afternoon and evening as we take you through Saturday here. So a break in the afternoon would help the atmosphere reload and gain more energy for thunderstorms in the evening. Here's 10 o'clock, and I'll stop it here as the front is finally pushing through. So it's stalled out a little bit, and that's allowing more of these chances of thunderstorms to move in. So clusters of thunderstorms through 9, 10 p.m. possible on Saturday night. And then finally, as we head into Sunday, we will start to see things dry out. On the other hand, it is something we have not seen for a long time, the chance for rainfall. These again are going to be pretty scattered. So if you need the rain, it's going to be you get it or you don't, and it could be a lot. So I want you to take this map here, rain totals through Sunday afternoon, as more of a, this is the potential of rainfall we could see. This will easily change. It just depends on where those pockets of rain set up. But we could find some spots, maybe 1 inch to 2 inches of rainfall over the course of the next couple of days, with some of these producing pretty heavy downpours. You can feel it outside. There's a ton of moisture. We'll talk more about the heat in store for us for tomorrow and the Wilson County Tennessee State Fair forecast for Friday, plus the Tennessee Titans forecast on Saturday.
Still to come tonight, who did not.
New tonight, 2 doctors and 3 other people are facing charges in connection with actor Matthew Perry's death. Investigators say the doctors preyed on Perry's history of addiction and gave him ketamine in dangerous amounts. Perry was using the drug to treat depression, which it is not approved for. A text message from one of the doctors is under fire. Investigators say it read, "I wonder how much this moron will pay. Let's find out." Perry died in October.
An update tonight on our parent company's effort to help feed hungry families across the country. Thanks to your donations, our nationwide campaign raised enough money for Feeding America to pay for more than 1 million meals. Families right here in Middle Tennessee benefited via the Second Harvest Food Bank. Our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, also donated $25,000 to this cause. Thanks again for partnering with us.
Moving.
Tonight in Your Voice, Your Vote, the Davidson County Election Commission just certified the results of the August 1st primary. As part of that process, 64 provisional ballots were rejected. Joining us now to talk more about that is Davidson County Election Administrator Jeff Roberts. Jeff, I understand there were 121 provisional ballots cast in all in the primary. What causes someone to have to use one of these provisional ballots?
Typically, it's that we do not have you on our list of registered voters. That doesn't mean that you might not be a registered voter. We just don't have you on the list. So typos from the Department of Safety or any of our partners out there could have prevented that. So we always like to check afterwards to make sure we've got everyone possible eligible to vote.
Sure, election integrity. Now, 64 of those 121, just over half, were disallowed. What was the issue or issues with those folks?
You know, probably the biggest issue was that the person was not registered. We had no information about their registration, nor did any of our state partners that registered people, whether the Department of Human Services, the Department of Safety. None of those departments had any information on the individual.
So we tossed those. Now, there have been some concerns about illegal migrants trying to vote, or people who've lost their voting rights, convicted felons. Was that an issue in this race, or has it been among this group?
I won't say that it's really an issue, because we try to make sure that only individuals that are U.S. citizens are included on our list. So we work with the state on a regular basis to try to identify individuals that might have a citizenship question, and we reach out to them to try to resolve that before the election.
Sure. How about convicted felons? Did any convicted felons who shouldn't have been voting try to vote this time?
You know, that's usually you can have a small number of people that will try to vote. But that's why we go through the process after the fact. If we have you identified on our voting list as a convicted felon, that's a flag to those poll workers on election day or during early voting. And you have to vote a provisional ballot. And then we will check to make sure that that identification was not an error on our part.
Oh, that's good. Now, having all this behind us, when's the deadline to vote in the upcoming presidential and congressional races in November?
So the November deadline for voter registration is October the 7th.
All right.
So you need to make sure that you're signed up by then.
Good information. Davidson County Election Administrator Jeff Roberts. Good to see you, and thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, Scott.
An update tonight on a controversial Mount Juliet church. Global Vision Bible Church has occupied a tent there for years, but now the congregation is moving. The church saw noise complaints from people who live nearby. Fox 17 News' Peyton Muse taking a look at where the church is headed.
One resident who actually started a petition for a noise ordinance and a GoFundMe says a weight is lifted off her shoulders.
Kylie Blackett lives about a mile from Global Vision Bible Church. She says the noise was so loud from the drums, her home would vibrate, keeping her kids up at night.
Sometimes her dogs are they're too scared to go outside and use the bathroom because of the noise.
Blackett says she, along with the rest of her community, is looking forward to things quieting down.
I wish them all the best, and I hope that their new neighbors do not have to endure what we have gone through the last several years. And I wish well for them.
After years of back and forth over noise and traffic, Pastor Greg Locke announced the move.
God's packing us up. We're moving just up the road to what's been in the name the whole time, Lebanon.
Pastor Locke says the deal still must be finalized and his churchgoers will miss the tent, but this is a good move.
We're going to turn that little neighborhood that it's in around for the glory of God. We're going to steward it well.
And Pastor Locke says with the bonus auditorium, there will be more space for kids and activities.
Blackett hopes moving from a tent to a building will make a difference, and the issues her community faces are not the same for this church's new home. In studio, Peyton Muse, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Several small threats for strong thunderstorms over the next 48 hours, but we'll focus on this evening here. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch for Trigg County in effect until midnight tonight. Now, we've got a cluster of thunderstorms here that are rolling through. I'll put this in motion, and you can see that we have this one is severe warned on just outside of the viewing area. We'll keep an eye on it. I do think 1 or 2 stronger thunderstorms is possible over the next few hours. It'll mainly be for our northwestern counties, Clarksville and points north and west for the overnight. Then we get into tomorrow morning. We'll have another batch of showers and thunderstorms possible for the morning hours and again into the afternoon. So busy couple of days. In addition to that, we have a heat advisory in effect going into tomorrow afternoon, 1 to 7. Heat index values up to 106, especially for those west of I-65. And in fact, heat index forecast for us here keeps us right around 104 to 105 as well. This is through noon, and this would be anywhere that we don't have rain. Now keep that in mind. Where we aren't looking at rain falling or has just fallen, that's where we'll see those higher heat index values, and you can see the model picking up on some of those pockets of rain as we go through Friday afternoon. But expecting another sultry day, a lot like what we had this afternoon in store for us for tomorrow. We've got meteorologist Brett Luna talking about how many of these 90-degree days we have seen so far this year.
Well, today was a hot one, but it wasn't the hottest day that we've had on this date throughout history. On this day back in 1954, we were able to hit 102 for our high, which is still the hottest day on record in Nashville for August 15th. Today's high in Nashville was 96 degrees, so that's 6 degrees shy of the record. And now we're going to talk about averages real quick. So on average, right here in Nashville, we usually get about 49 days where we have temperatures at 90 degrees or higher. And since we hit 96 today, that now puts us at 49 days of 90 degrees or higher so far for the year. So that puts us right at average. The most 90-degree days we've had is 99 days back in 2019. And the fewest amount of days we've hit 90 or more is 11.
A consumer alert tonight because right now online criminals may have access to your social security number, your date of birth, and your home address.
It's all they need to pass themselves off as you. It's a potential data breach that may have put nearly 3 billion people at risk. Fox 17 News' Atra Elnashar explains how it happened.
With everything from payments to signatures happening in digital form these days, most are aware of the ever-present threat of their data getting into the wrong hands. But what's not normal is what allegedly happened around April of this year to the background check company National Public Data. According to this class action lawsuit against the company, a cybercriminal group called US DoD accessed National Public Data's network and withdrew almost 3 billion pieces of encrypted personal data. Names, social security numbers, addresses, and more.
This is a big breach, and we shouldn't take it lightly.
McAfee Chief Technology Officer Steve Grobin says it's extremely helpful to hackers that it was all in one place.
All of that information can be used by cybercriminals to take advantage of these victims and execute a wide range of cybercrime.
The suit alleges the data was compromised, published, and then sold on the dark web due to defendants' negligent and/or careless acts and omissions, and their utter failure to protect customers' sensitive data. This post is believed to show the hackers trying to sell it for $3.5 million. But the data reportedly ended up being leaked to a hacker forum for free. The magnitude of the breach is shocking. So is what the company allegedly did or didn't do after.
Based on the class action lawsuit that's been filed, NPD has not made an official notification regarding the exact details.
Instead, third-party security firms now have to go through client data to see who's been affected. National Public Data did not respond to our request for comment by airtime. Government officials have taken notice. Florida Senator Rick Scott says the lack of notification is disturbing and unacceptable and calls for a transparent federal response. If you're worried about your data, experts suggest signing up for credit monitoring and consider freezing your credit. As this lawsuit allegedly shows, your data may get into the wrong hands months before you even find out. In Washington, I'm Atra Elnashar reporting.
Coming up, we'll
In science and technology tonight, concerns about the safety of those self-driving cars.
Fox 17 News' Angie Moreski taking a look at what's being done to make sure those vehicles don't crash into your car. That's in tonight's Spotlight on America report.
The future is here. Driverless vehicles on America's roads, picking up passengers in robo-taxis and delivering goods in autonomous trucks.
What was once science fiction is now a reality.
Autonomous Vehicle Industry Association Executive Director Jeff Ferris says half of U.S. states have now passed laws welcoming autonomous vehicles. Truly driverless vehicles with no human observer are already operating in California, Nevada, Arizona, and Texas. We also know test vehicles are on the roads with backup human drivers in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and Arkansas.
How safe, really, are these vehicles that they're being tested on the public roads?
What we know from more than 70 million autonomous miles being driven on public roads is that autonomous vehicles are far safer than human-driven vehicles.
Farah calls the technology a game changer for safety. He cites several studies, including one by robotaxi company Waymo, that reported an 85% reduction in injury crashes compared to human drivers. He also sent us multiple videos showing autonomous vehicles avoiding crashes. But safety experts say that's not the full picture.
It has the potential to be safe, but what we're seeing is a lot of loose ends.
Phil Koopman is an international safety expert on autonomous vehicles, now a professor at Carnegie Mellon University. His research extends nearly 30 years. A frequent critic of the industry's safety claims, he calls them misleading.
Most of those 70 million miles had a safety driver. So if something goes wrong, there was a person to stop the bad thing from happening. The number of miles without a safety driver to intervene is much less.
Spotlight on America asked the AV Industry Association how many of those miles were driven without a human backup driver, but a spokesperson told us they didn't have that breakdown.
I got a unmanned vehicle that was kind of taken off from me. It's a Waymo car.
Several recent high-profile incidents have raised concerns.
Your car here drove into oncoming lanes of traffic.
Phoenix police body cam video shows a traffic stop in June after a Waymo robotaxi was spotted driving the wrong way in a construction zone. No one was injured there, but a pedestrian was seriously injured in an accident involving a GM Cruise robotaxi in San Francisco last October.
What are the limitations of this technology when on the roads?
It has no intelligence. It doesn't think like a person. It just is trained, and when it hits something it hasn't been trained on, it just guesses. And sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong.
Farah points out that humans are often wrong too and insists the industry is making safety a priority. For Spotlight on America, I'm Angie Moreski.
Spotlight on America did request interviews with both Waymo and Cruise, and both declined, but GM did provide a statement, which you can read online. Just go to spotlightinvestigates.com and click on the driverless vehicle safety story.
All right, back to mid-state weather. A lot going on in the next couple of days and a lot of opportunities for rain.
Yes, we've got scattered thunderstorms off and on for the next 48 hours, I'd say. And it will be one of those situations where if you're out and about, you find yourself under one of those storms, get ready.
Oh boy.
So it could be heavy.
It could be, yeah. Rain, I think, could be heavy at times. The severe threat, it's going to be low, but it's possible that we have gusts of wind or hail, maybe. Those are going to be the main threats. This does not look to be a tornado setup for us. As far as the Wilson County, Tennessee State Fair goes for Friday, temperatures will be around 85 degrees with a partly cloudy sky. We get into the evening hours. A few pop-ups will be possible. Temperatures will be in those low 80s. Again, it'll be feeling hot as well as we go through the evening hours. A little cooler there, most likely because we've had rain earlier in the afternoon. Now, as we get into Saturday, the potential for an isolated thunderstorm early in the evening. And as we head deeper into the night, we may run into a few more pop-ups here. It will be a muggy night nonetheless, with temperatures holding in those mid-80s. But again, the way it's looking right now, we may have a few pop-ups going through Saturday evening, with the Seahawks in town taking on the Titans again Saturday night. Kickoff will be around 6 o'clock in the evening hours. All right, to Hurricane Ernesto, looking quite impressive on satellite tonight. The latest update has it now at a Category 2 hurricane, moving northeast now at 14 miles per hour. And we're looking at winds at 100 miles per hour as well. So we will see Ernesto here continue to move forward, possibly making a landfall near or right on Bermuda, but looks to pass it just to the west here for the early part of the weekend as Category 2 hurricane, and will then continue to work its way up towards maritime Canada, Newfoundland here, and will bring lots of waves and currents, rip currents through portions of New England and really up and down the eastern seaboard as well. So we'll be keeping an eye on Ernesto, but again, not expected to be a problem for us directly here in the U.S. Highs tomorrow topping off right around 95, 96 degrees here in Nashville, 95 in Franklin, Ashland City and Fairview, Mount Juliet around 94. We are looking at highs in those 90s for Clarksville, Dickson, Dover and Waverly. Pockets of showers and thunderstorms around. Heat index values will be 105 plus, especially for folks in Centerville, Hohenwald, Columbia, with the actual temperature in the mid 90s. Over towards Manchester to Tullahoma and Winchester, highs around 90 degrees. And again, heat index values could be in the upper 90s, close to 100. A little cooler for folks in Smithville to Carthage, Cookeville, Gainesboro, maybe a little cooler too, depending on how much convection we have in the morning. It may take a little more time to rebound, and temperatures won't be quite as hot to the east. So we take a look here at your 7-day forecast. We are code red through Friday, and we'll be code red for Saturday as well. Notice we do cool down a little bit as we head into the middle of next week, and we dry out as well.
Thank you, Katie. Complicated justice. The 18-year-olds Metro Police say killed a man when they were minors.
Hi there, I'm Fox 17 News This Morning anchor Erica Glover, making sure a student has...
In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro Police make 2 arrests in Nashville's first murder of the year. They picked up Hatet Sar today in Antioch. The other suspect, Gabriel Melo Beltran, was arrested last night in Murfreesboro. Both are 18, but police say they were 17 at the time of the murder, so for the time being, they're charged as juveniles. Police say the victim, 18-year-old William Silva, was shot during a robbery, then dropped off at Southern Hills Medical Center, where he died.
Fox 17 News giving you a chance to win tickets to the Music City Brewers Festival. It happens Saturday, August 24th at Walk of Fame Park, all to support the Nashville Humane Association. You can scan this QR code on the screen or go to fox17.com/contest to enter for your chance to win. You have to be at least 21 years or older. Message and data rates may apply. For complete contest details, go to fox17.com and click on contests.
Cracking down on fake business reviews online, what the feds could do to violators.
I couldn't fulfill my job duties.
We couldn't pay bills. It's more about the way they feel about their clients and trying to help them get back on their feet. That's why I do what I do. You treat us like a person and not just another claim.
In consumer news, a new federal crackdown on fake online business reviews. Consumers have complained about the fake reviews often created by AI, and now the Federal Trade Commission is putting an end to the practice.
The new rule also bans companies from bribing customers to write positive reviews themselves. The agency also banning businesses from threatening people who write negative reviews online. Sometimes you hear about that. The FTC can seek civil penalties against violators.
Another terror watch list suspect caught at the southern border. I'm Matt Gelka in Washington, and I'll have the story coming up.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
And we begin tonight with a code red weather alert. Here's a live look over Nashville right now. Things are calm at the moment, but that will change in a matter of hours.
And we're under a marginal risk for severe storms overnight all the way through Saturday morning. Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan joining us here, timing it all out.
Yeah, we've got severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Trigg County. That's the only one
right there on the state line,
just right there. Yep. And that goes until midnight tonight. Now I'm watching this cluster moving through overnight tonight. It's losing some steam, so that's good to see here. We had a severe thunderstorm warning attached to this cell here moving through Paducah, but it has since weakened. So hopefully that trend will continue, and we're not expecting too much in the way of more or additional showers and storms overnight through the early morning hours. Now, as we get into the commute time, I think there will be more showers and storms starting to pop up for us here, and then we'll have another chance as we head into Friday evening. And then again, going into Saturday and Saturday night now, it's looking like. So severe thunderstorm watch in effect until midnight for Trigg County. As we take a look at future track, you can see through midnight, we've got a cluster of thunderstorms pushing through. And then overnight here, some showers and storms will be possible for us. But I think the overall severe weather threat should be relatively low. It's still a good idea to go ahead and make sure that you have those ways to stay alert just in case. And if we were to see anything severe, wind and hail are the primary threats here. 9 a.m. for tomorrow, future track brings in more showers and thunderstorms, and as I mentioned, line after line may be possible for the afternoon and evening into Friday. So we take a live look here on Broadway. Things are fairly quiet at the moment. We're looking at temperatures still pretty sultry, sitting at 83 under a clear sky. Our temperatures sitting overnight in the low to mid 70s area wide. We'll walk you through future track for Friday afternoon and into Saturday coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
In Operation Crime and Justice, Metro Police arresting 2 teenagers in connection to a deadly shooting that happened in January. Tonight, detectives caught up with 18-year-old Hitet Sar in Antioch. 18-year-old Gabriel Melo Beltran was taken into custody last night in Murfreesboro. Police say that they both were 17 when they killed William Silva during a robbery attempt.
Hard questions tonight about a story Fox 17 News broke about failed bond conditions connected to the murder of a 22-year-old woman. 2 local bonding companies appeared today before a panel of Metro judges. The judges want to know what went wrong and how to keep it from ever happening again. Metro police say Bryson Rivers, the suspect, beat Lauren Johansson bloody here in Nashville back in December. After making bond from the Metro jail, authorities say he then drove to Mississippi and killed her. Bond conditions should have kept him from leaving town and alerted authorities if he did. Judges say that Brooks and on-time bail bonding and freedom monitoring were responsible for tracking Rivers, but all deny being made aware of the bond conditions. Lauren Johansson's heartbroken father is furious.
With so many different errors that occurred, that at some point, just one thing went our way, she'd still be here today.
An employee with Freedom Monitoring was also working for Brooks Bonding, was supposed to make sure that Rivers did not violate his conditions. She never told the court that he left the area. The companies could all face sanctions. No word yet on how the judges will respond to this breakdown.
Turning now to the economy, and tonight a government watchdog group, the Beacon Center, is suing the U.S. Department of Labor over a plan to expand overtime pay to more people. Right now, employers must pay overtime to salaried workers who make $35,000 a year or less. The Labor Department wants to increase that to $58,000 a year. While the Biden administration says workers deserve to be paid for their work, the Beacon Center says that this law will have unintended consequences.
What about those employees who make under $58,000 and work overtime? Should they not get paid?
The law is short-sighted and it's not seeing the long-term costs and the cost of businesses. And right, businesses are either going to pass the cost on the consumers, they're either not going to hire new employees, and it's going to affect them to, serve their customer base.
The Beacon Center teamed up with the Association of Christian Schools to file the motion today. If it moves forward, roughly 4 million jobs would be reclassified starting in January of 2025. Well, earlier in the newscast, we had this poll up and running asking the question, do you agree with the Biden administration's effort to allow salaried employees earning less than $58,000 a year to be eligible for overtime pay? We're getting close to almost 600 votes coming in, and most people, 59.5%, say no, they do not agree with the Biden administration's efforts. 40.5% say yes, they do. Each night, look for a new poll on our X page that you can take part in.
Tonight in Your Voice, Your Vote, the Metro Election Commission certifies the results of the August 1st primary. Now, that process includes rejecting over half the provisional ballots cast in the name of election integrity. 121 of those provisional ballots were cast on Election Day. Now, those are paper ballots poll workers use when there are questions about whether people are properly qualified to vote. Election Administrator Jeff Roberts tells me 64 provisional ballots were tossed because the people simply weren't registered.
We had no information about their registration, nor did any of our state partners that registered people, whether the Department of Human Services, the Department of Safety. None of those departments had any information on the individual.
Robert says provisional ballots are also used if there are questions about a person's citizenship or convicted felons who may not be eligible to vote. He says all of those get double checked. The deadline, by the way, to register for the upcoming November presidential election is October the 7th.
Well, the Democratic National Convention now just days away, and as Fox 17 News' Angela Brown reports, Chicago police are ramping up security efforts and monitoring threats.
After jam-packed whirlwind campaigning, all roads lead to Chicago, and the Democratic National Convention expect big speeches and also big protests. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling.
If everybody is doing exactly what's expected of them and they're exercising their First Amendment rights, this isn't an arrest situation.
WGN in Chicago reporting leaders of 4 Muslim organizations are expecting upwards of 100,000 demonstrators for various protests during the DNC. Protest zones have been set up. John Robertson, Chief Operating Officer for Chicago.
Let me be absolutely clear. The city of Chicago is ready to host the 2024 Democratic National Convention.
Protests could span miles and 2 locations. The United Center is the primary convention location with all the major speeches. McCormick Place, the secondary location for other business. Sergeant Betsy Smith, spokesperson, National Police Association.
These 2 huge Chicago iconic locations are about 6 miles apart. So that is a real security conundrum.
Leading some Chicago business owners to close shop, worried about protests getting out of hand with crime already plaguing Chicago.
The gangbangers aren't going to go away because the Democrats are having their national convention.
And then there's another threat. CNN is reporting that U.S. security officials are on alert for possible retaliatory attacks at the DNC following the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
Another terror watch list suspect caught at
Suspects on the terror watch list apprehended at the southern border.
Fox 17 News' Matt Galka has more on the story, and you can let us know what you think by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during this story.
A 35-year-old Palestinian migrant on the terror watch list was caught at the southern border this week, according to the New York Post. Omar Shahada was caught in Santa Teresa, New Mexico, as part of a group of 7. He was identified as being on the watch list during processing and is now going through removal proceedings. Border policy critics say the number of terror watch list suspects arrested at the border overall is concerning.
241 individuals on the terrorist watch list have been apprehended at the border. Ask yourself this question. If you're on the FBI terrorist watch list, why are you trying to sneak into this country? And so many of those of us in law enforcement are so worried that the next 9/11 is not going to be planes hijacked. It's going to be somebody that crosses over our southern border.
The memo on Shahada linked him to using explosives/bombs. His arrest comes weeks after 3 other Palestinians with possible ties to terror groups were caught in the San Diego sector. One of the men allegedly had a picture of a masked man holding an AK-47 on his phone, according to a report in the Post. It's unknown which terror groups the alleged suspects are tied to. Intelligence officials have repeatedly put out warnings this year and in the wake of October 7th about the potential ripple effects of war in the Middle East and how it could drive terror around the world.
While it is too early to tell, it is likely that the Gaza conflict will have a generational impact on terrorism. Both al-Qaeda and ISIS, inspired by Hamas, have directed supporters to conduct attacks against Israeli and U.S. interests.
There were 736 terror watch list suspects caught at America's borders last year. With 6 weeks left to go in this fiscal year, there have been 361 apprehensions. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
During that story, we had a QR code up linking you to this poll asking whether you are worried that terrorists have crossed the U.S. border illegally. Just under 1,000 votes, 931, overwhelmingly yes. 90.3% are thanks for all who took a moment to vote.
Hot pursuit, the police chase that shut down I-40 in Mount Juliet and how police captured their guy.
And together again, President Biden, Vice President Harris stumping for votes for the first time. In Operation Crime and Justice, a police chase in Mount Juliet shuts down Interstate 40.
Well, police were after a man convicted of rape who cut off his GPS monitor. Police said the 57-year-old who violated his community supervision was spotted by police getting on I-40 this afternoon. He led police on a chase until his car broke down. Police say that he then jumped out and ran across busy lanes of interstate traffic before eventually being arrested.
Tonight, a boating accident leads to the second boating death of the year on Percy Priest Lake. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency says a 54-year-old man from Antioch was using a slide on a pontoon boat. He went into the water, struggled as he swam back to the boat, went under, and never came back up. Witnesses say it took a few minutes before they were able to find him. He was rushed ashore and received CPR, but it was too late. TWRA says it is the 16th boating-related death in Tennessee since the first of the year.
Turning now to politics, President Biden and Vice President Harris celebrating lowering drug costs on the campaign trail. As Fox News' Connor Hansen shows us, it's their first public appearance together since Harris took over the ticket.
I could speak all afternoon about the person that I am standing on this stage with.
President Biden and Vice President Harris appeared in Maryland for their first joint speaking event since Biden announced he was no longer running. While it looked like another campaign rally for Harris, it was an official White House event about drug prices. The president announced they have negotiated lower costs for 10 major Medicare drugs.
Under the law I signed, Medicare can negotiate lower prices for another 15 drugs next year, 15 the following, and 20 after that till every drug is covered. That's the law now.
It comes as the economy remains top of mind with voters. A recent Fox News poll finding many still give the economy and their personal finances negative ratings. Donald Trump focused on the issue at a rally on Wednesday.
Vote Trump and your incomes will soar, your savings will grow, young people will be able to afford a home, and we will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before.
On his way to the event, President Biden was asked if Harris would continue his economic policies.
All those reservation taxes working, in case you haven't noticed.
This comes as both campaigns agreed to 2 presidential debates and one between the vice presidential candidates. The first between Harris and Trump will be on September 10th. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
In a code red alert for a couple rounds of showers and thunderstorms, one coming through overnight tonight. This one's going to be pretty isolated, I believe, in the next few hours, and then another round possible tomorrow morning. But we are right on the edge here of a severe thunderstorm watch in pink, and Trigg County, the only county in our viewing area under that watch for now. Over the past hour, though, you can easily see the storm has weakened. That was severe warning out of Paducah. Notice the lightning strike count. It's a good indicator on how strong these storms are, but the lightning count coming down quite a bit. Hopefully that trend will continue, but I can't rule out a couple thunderstorms as we go through the evening hours, especially in the next few hours for our northwestern counties, and then overnight a few showers and thunderstorms as well. Good idea anyways to make sure that you have the Fox 17 weather app ready to go. You can scan the QR code here. It is, again, a great tool to have for severe weather or any type of weather for that matter to give you those alerts, especially through the overnight hours. For Friday, we've got a threat for damaging winds and hail all of Tennessee under that marginal risk. And then going into Saturday, another marginal risk here. So these aren't overall widespread severe weather chances. They're more isolated events that we could find with some gusts of wind here or there. Off and on showers and storms through the day on Friday. Temperature around 82 at 10, 93 at 2. Where we are not seeing the rain, heat index may be a problem for us. Heat index values above 100 possible, feeling very sultry like it was today. For Friday afternoon, you can see that showers and thunderstorms are popping up here. There will be the possibility, I do believe, for the morning hours as well for some showers and thunderstorms around morning commute time. But as we get into noon here, a break possible before another round into the late afternoon, early evening. This is 3 p.m. And notice that it remains fairly scattered across the area through 6. And then as we get into 9, 10, 11, we're looking at showers and thunderstorms to move through. I'll have more for you coming up in just a bit.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
An early morning wake-up call in Missouri as lightning strikes the ground near Jefferson City. While the Atlantic coast will see rip currents from Hurricane Ernesto, the Gulf Coast in Panama City is as flat as a pancake. A manatee made a quick visit to a Pensacola, Florida beach. And sunset turned the skies over a lake near Albany, New York, lavender last night.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
And you can see more weather stories just like this every weekday morning on the National Weather Desk starting at 8 a.m. Not here, but on our sister station, MyTV 30.
The president of Columbia University stepping down after months of unrest on campus. I'm Kayla Gaskin.
Okay, let's finish this weather hit. Had something in my throat. Got it taken care of. Now we move on here. Saturday morning into the afternoon. I do think we are looking at a few more showers and thunderstorms that'll be possible. Morning, not quite as much as what we could find as we head into the afternoon and evening. We'll start here for Friday again, as you notice, 3 in the afternoon and onward, looking at those showers and storms to be with us. Overnight into early Saturday morning, I think we are looking at the potential for a few showers and thunderstorms. And then as we go through Saturday afternoon, another break, a lot like what we'll see for Friday, and then more possible as we head into Saturday night. So again, this is going to be a scattered event for the next few days, but we'll have at least the potential for thunderstorms through Saturday night. We do cool down and dry out going into next week.
New tonight, the president of Columbia University is stepping down following months of campus demonstrations over the war in Israel.
Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins has more on what led to her resignation.
After months of protests, political pressure,
the faculty members who are supporting terror, I share with you your repugnance
and turmoil on campus regarding the Israel-Hamas war, the president of Columbia University, Manoush Shafiq, has stepped down. In her letter, Shafiq said this period has taken a considerable toll on her family, adding her moving on will allow the university to best traverse the challenges ahead. Shafiq, the latest Ivy League president to step down over campus unrest following the fates of the presidents of Harvard and UPenn. A federal judge ruling this week UCLA cannot allow protests on campus that block Jewish students access to the university.
I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition.
As students across the country head back to campus this fall, the protests could resume as well. The demonstrators have called for the universities to completely divest ties with Israel. They also want a ceasefire, pointing to the large amounts of civilian casualties. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says more than 40,000 Palestinians have been killed in the war so far. In New York City Wednesday, pro-Palestine protesters disrupting a Kamala Harris campaign event. Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams were in attendance. This comes less than a week after protesters in Michigan interrupted Harris's rally there.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Officials remaining on high alert with thousands of protesters expected outside the Democratic convention next week in Chicago. Meanwhile, ceasefire talks continue in Doha Thursday. Representatives from the U.S., Israel, Egypt, and Qatar were in attendance. Hamas decided not to attend, but said they would speak with the mediators afterwards. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Looking ahead now, Fox 17 News giving you an opportunity to win tickets to the Music City Brewers Festival. It is next Saturday, August the 24th at Walk of Fame Park downtown. Proceeds will support the Nashville Humane Association. Just scan the QR code there on the left-hand side of your screen, or you can go to fox17.com/contest to enter for a chance to win. You do have to be 21 years or older. Message and data rates apply. For complete contest rules and details, go to fox17.com/contests.
New alert from the CDC. They are very concerned about a dramatic rise in an illness usually seen in children. I'm Liz Bonus. We're going to explain its symptoms and
Well, in your health news tonight, the CDC issuing an alert as parvovirus cases continue to rise among children and adults.
Fox 17 medical reporter Liz Bonus tonight sharing who is at risk and how you can protect yourself from this virus.
Hey there, everybody. CDC issuing this alert because they've seen a dramatic rise in what's called human parvovirus B19. It is a common illness in children, but they're especially worried about those who have compromised immunity and for women who are pregnant.
The concern is that the virus can be transmitted during pregnancy from mother to child. And as many kids head back to school,
it is very highly contagious, and I think that's the other reason they put this out, is it is probably going to go through schools very quickly.
infectious disease specialist Dr. Stephen Blatt of Ohio's Tri-Health told me the Health Alert Network advisory from the CDC is really alerting healthcare providers to be on the lookout for this seasonal respiratory virus.
It's a virus that's common in childhood. It's called fifth disease in childhood, and but adults can get it if they didn't have it in childhood.
Parvovirus B19 tends to hit in two phases, with fever and fatigue about 7 days after infection, and in the second phase, about 10 days later, kids get a slap cheek look from a facial rash.
So if your kid comes home with a fever and their cheeks are bright red, it's a pretty good chance that's fifth disease.
Adults sometimes have no symptoms until this second phase, when a rash shows up along with pretty bad joint pains.
Sometimes it's not obvious what it is, and there's blood tests you could do to check and see if that's what it is.
Now, because this is passed through respiratory droplets, it's tough to avoid, but hand washing, wearing a mask, not sharing food or drinks with others can help you reduce the odds of catching it. With your health news, I'm Liz Bonus reporting.
Liz, thank you. So, Katie, is it going to be raining on the kids for school tomorrow or not quite?
Drug supply